got Abhishek here now. So it's over to you, Abhishek. If you can catch your breath.
My space flight was a little late.
Yes.
You see. Okay. Hello, friends. And let's have a nice conversation on the focus area that we have for this panel, which is India's limitless strides, India's limitless ambition when it comes to space. And look at these two ladies, Kajal Rajbhar from Spantrik and Umamaheswari from Agnikul. Now, look at this. We are talking about space. We are talking about rocket launches. And you know, if you don't understand something, typically you say, oh, is this rocket science? And we have these two ladies sitting with me, and we are going to have a conversation on rocket science. My only request to my guests would be that don't make it a little complicated, because you are rocket scientists, the audience is not, right?
So
let's begin.
Yeah, sure.
Kajal, you first.
So basically, we always thought that space is something always been in debated. Whether we are going to space, how it's actually impacting the earth, like whether we actually want to go to space or not. So I always say is whenever any humanity venture in the space, they have always been being a valuable and for the earth, not only for the space. Like whenever the scientists making any kind of experiments for the space, actually it's directly have impact on the earth itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Uma, let's understand. You are with Agnikul, and I believe they are the first private sector company which has made a 3D printed engine for rockets, and you are soon going to launch.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so actually Agnikul, first of all, thank you so much for having us here. Agnikul started with the vision of making launch easier, actually launch or space access easier, I would say. And with the motto of being able to launch from anywhere, anytime and affordably. So on the affordability part, like if we have to make launches affordably, we have to come up with some technologies that would help us cut the cost, help us develop the launch vehicle itself or any component for the vehicle faster, as well as in a lesser cheaper rate.
Okay.
So that's where 3D printing came into Agnikul. That's one reason why 3D printing came into Agnikul.
Okay.
And
so
one more thing.
Let's have a general conversation first before we go into technicalities, if at all. So generally we think that satellites, it's a big thing, rockets, huge thing. So the governments get involved. India has ISRO, and they have done, say, about 100 rocket launches and satellites in space. America has NASA, Europe has ESA, and it's their job to make rockets, satellites, launch them. But now we are seeing private sector getting into it. But interesting in the case of India is that we have about 24 odd space startups, and they are all started, owned by youngsters like these. You know, Kajal, tell us your story of this enterprise. I mean, how did you think of having a rocket launch company, rocket making company?
So actually, first of all, it started me being a curious kid when I was a kid. So whenever I see any images, basically I always say thanks for the media, print media basically, because we had the newspaper at that time when I was in my school times. So whenever I see any images of space like nebulas or stars formations or any kind of, so I always thought I always wanted to take these space pictures or from my own camera. So from that, it happened ki I really want to make my own rocket, put my own camera and take those pictures. So whenever I grow up, I never thought it might be, I will be so serious about this ki when I was in my 10th standard, my dad asked ki, Kajal, what do you actually want to do? Because at 10th we have to take any stream. So I told my dad directly, I want to make my own space company. So, and then maybe he's not that serious about it. And then he said, okay, if you study well, then you might make it. And then again, when I was in my graduation time, then again he asked me the same question. Now, what do you actually want to do? I was still stuck to that point. Ki I really want to make it now, and
Okay.
you're gonna help me in this thing. And then when I was pursuing my masters in astrophysics at that time in 2019, so people actually asking ki, from me, because I was still serious. Then say Kajal is not actually allowed in India to make your own rockets,
Right.
and it's not possible to make. But I was like, why it's not actually possible back in 2019?
Right.
So, but if I remember, in year 2021, the India become privatization. The in space happened at that time, and I got an inaugural from that in space when it's actually happened.
Okay.
So from that time, in next year, I just registered my company, and
Right.
from that it started.
Okay, when we say future is space and private sector is getting into it, India has about 100 satellites up in space, almost all of them launched by ISRO or government satellites. China has about 600-700, United States has about 1,000. Just imagine one private company, friends, in the United States, owned by Elon Musk, SpaceX. Can you guess how many satellites it has in space? I told you India has 100, China has about 700, United States, Sarkari satellites about 1,000. How many, can you guess, Elon Musk's SpaceX has up in air? How many satellites? Students there, can somebody guess? Very close. 7,000 satellites Elon Musk's SpaceX has in space. So, I mean, space is the limit, as they say.
Exactly.
So, what is your ambition, Uma, you think, at Agnikul? You're launching your satellite perhaps next year. And we already have some companies in the private sector that have already launched a couple of satellites,
Exactly.
but maybe in beta mode, as they say. But by when should you think you too, one by one, tell us, be able to launch your own satellites using your rockets? Uma.
Yeah, so we have recently we are working on an orbital mission. We are planning to launch one by this end of this year, 2025, and a tech demonstrator mission, which was a second stage, a derivative of our orbital mission, was launched on May 30, 2024, where we validated the performance of the hardware that we had already developed for the vehicle. And as a bigger plan, Agnikul wants to make mobile launch pads, which would help us to launch from anywhere, launch on demand. Based
Really?
on the customer needs, we would be able to customize the vehicle, the launch vehicle itself, based on what...
When you say anywhere, like can we launch it from Connaught Place, like that?
Anywhere where we will be able to set up and get launch authorization.
Yeah, of course, with permission.
With permissions
You can
and-
launch rockets and satellites from anywhere.
Anyway, we would be able to carry the vehicle, launch vehicle would be mobile, plus the launch pad would be mobile. We would
Isn't it fantastic listening to a girl talking about launching satellites and rockets from anywhere and having the design and engineering capability to be doing that? That's limitless India, you know. And okay, let's take this forward. Just to make an announcement, we already have Honourable Minister Hardeep Puri and very soon Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma reaching. Mr. Puri is already here. We would be starting those sessions immediately after this, so just be here and coming back to the conversation. So, Kajal, tell us, what's your ambition in terms of space travel? So because you said you dreamt of it and that's how you launched your company, startup. Like, are you planning to go to Mars? Or
Yeah,
being a
definitely.
woman, you want to go to Venus?
Yeah, definitely, because Spantrik, we always take it as a mission. As I always say, ki we really want to make this space flight as routinely accessible and affordable as what we see the air travel today. So Spantrik's ultimate vision, we really want to make the human is as an interplanetary species, not only remain on the Earth, but I always see the humans can be on the Mars too. And you know, the Gaganyaan mission has already started, so we'll very soon see our own Indian citizens on the moon, and definitely in the next 2 decades maybe on the Mars, so, as like what our Prime Minister's vision of 2047. Like humans on the moon. So definitely afterwards, the human will be on the Mars too from Spantrik.
Acha, tell us some practical stuff. So, like, if I go to Agra, I know how I can travel. You know, I can take a Shatabdi, I can go by road, I know how much I'll spend. When you say space travel, let's just say space flight. I read somewhere as of now, if you want to take a space flight on Virgin Galactic or Blue Origin, Blue Origin, yeah, of Jeff Bezos, I believe. You spend something like 2 to 4 crore rupees just for a low orbit joyride up in space and come back.
Even more than that. Like.
Even more than that.
Exactly.
So when you say you want to make it affordable, how affordable you want to make it?
So
like, can I go for my joyride? People sitting here, can they fantasize having a joyride up in space for their birthday parties? Many in Gujarat would want to do that. So how much would it cost?
So right now, what we are planning, we will be definitely delivering the cost as much like if we see SpaceX, that's the cheapest one, and that's why, like as I say, the affordable one also, because that's why even in today's time, the most of the Indian satellites companies are also going to SpaceX for launching their satellites. So right now the cost what we are offering like $8,000 like per kg. So that's the most affordable.
$3,000.
$8,000.
8,000.
Yeah,
that's very expensive.
That's the cheapest or the affordable one.
As of now.
Yeah, as of now, yes.
But in future, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line.
Because at that time when we have the more rockets coming on its way, because right now only in India, like we have only some few launch vehicles, but by that time even some more countries will be also, then definitely as when we see so many countries are coming into the space sectors, the space is the ultimate final frontiers for them. So the cost ultimately come down, and it will be like as I say, the affordable as what we say the air travel today. So definitely we'll try to make that as affordable as much like air travel.
Right. Fair enough. So I can see a lot of students sitting there, and just for their benefit, when we say, you know, rocket science, there is an element of bit of an intimidation. Uma, you are an engineer, you're director of engineering of your company. What would you tell the youngsters? What they should be preparing for if they have ambitions to make a career in space sciences?
2 things I would like to say. One is for people who choose career in aerospace or in aeronautics, usually people tell that it is hard to make a career itself. So with time, people drift from what they actually want to. So they will start with a vision, and then they usually drift away from what they hear from other people. So one suggestion would be to have the vision right and then work focused on that. The other one is there are a lot of opportunities today given, she also mentioned the startup in space. With that, there's a lot of startups that is working on the aerospace industry today. So there's a lot of opportunity. So I would suggest people to look out for the opportunities. It involves some effort. It is not like we will look for it and we will get it immediately. So we have to put in effort to look for opportunities outside. So patience and effort is what I would suggest.
Right. Okay. I believe Mr. Puri is all set to come here. And a last question to you, Kajal. One aspect is science, and the other aspect is enterprise. You know, for example, Jack Ma, who recently came back, reappeared on the scene. He was an English teacher, but then he became a techpreneur because, and all his enterprise is on the tech side. SaaS essentially, but even AI now. So what it takes as a youngster in your 20s, tell us what it takes to connect the vision with the energy and ambition to get into a sector as niche as a space.
We know it very well. The space is very challenging. It's not as easy as like the other fields, as we say. But like what I have learned being as an entrepreneur, I'm basically not from the aerospace, but I'm from physics sides. So I always said that physics is like a person who can be in any field. Whether today we see that Shri Ravi Shankarji, so he is also from the physics side, and that's what I I'm amazed ki also the physics people can be the spiritual global leaders too. But as I have learned three things, like your whenever you want to go in any field, it's not about the space, it's about like the vision, like how far you can go from where you are right now. And second day, you have to prepare yourself, like the preparation. The first day is the vision is very important. The second day go for the preparations. Because in the entrepreneur, like in any field, like we have to get ready for because we are going to fail every day and we are going to succeed every day. Like it's like 90-10%, maybe 50-50%. So every day we have to ready for this. And the third day is the education day. You have to educate yourself, like on your ideas, because everything looks so great on the PPTs, but unless and until you make it reality, the people not going to believe you. So that's actually important. So that's the three things.
All right. Kajal, I have been just indicated that the minister has arrived. In fact, he's coming into the hall, so we have to sort of end the session. Rini, can you come in and take over? Thank you so much, Uma, and thank you so much, Kajal.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a louder